going on, guys? Junior's Fishing Company with a musky jig today. So I've got a giant Jenko Fishing Company swim bait hook. This is a 3/4 ounce head, and I don't even know how big this hook is. I think they're like 8/0. I think they sell them in like 8 and 9/0 or something like that, and they go up to like 2 ounces. These things are ridiculous. They barely fit in this vise. So this is going to be a really long kind of shad pattern style jig, and it's going to be articulated. I've already got the rattle on, ready to go. I'm obviously going to start with tying on this, but I just wanted to show you this hook. This is 1/2 inch Blaine chocolate body tubing. I've never even used 1/2 inch before. I don't know if it's going to be absurdly big, but I want this bait to be pretty wide, and it's going to be really long. So I thought I would beef up and do the 1/2 inch. We'll see how it goes. A lot of the materials are going to be right between the head and this body tubing. You can see I put a little orange marker there. That's kind of where I wanted my body tubing to be, just because, again, I have no idea how much of a bump this is going to create, but I've got a ton of materials. I've got a ton of hackle feathers, a ton. I'm going to put a big giant white bucktail. So this is the bottom of my jig. So I'm going to tie all white on top of both of these. It's going to be all white, and then really the only color I'm going to put is going to be right here, and I have just a ton of long hackle feathers of just a bunch of different colors. Grizzly, well, they're all grizzly, I guess, except for the black ones. Chartreuse, black, orange, olive, yellow, blue, and then just standard black. So I'll take this out. Barely even fits in there. I'm going to put it somewhere where I'm not going to lose it. I'm going to fast forward through a little bit of these steps just to save time on this video. The first thing I'm going to do, so I've got, this is just 280 white UTC. I thought about using monofilament or GSP or something really, really strong like that, but honestly, I've kind of started to steer away from those super crazy strong threads. I mean, 280 is plenty strong, but I just prefer the 280. Maybe I'll change my mind here. I kind of go through phases, but I had the mono all ready to go. But so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put down some long white bucktail, and it's just, I'm going to just put it 360 around. I want to try and prevent all of these feathers from wrapping around the hook too much. They're gonna, because when I put that hackle on, it's gonna be, some of them are gonna be 11 inches long, and that's just the way it's gonna go, and I kind of just have to accept that now. But I think I can help by putting down lots of bucktail too. And I know that top of this bait is going to be colored and the bottom's going to be white, but my bucktail, especially the first couple, I'm just going to put 360. This is kind of my more primo white bucktail, but I'm just going to put it pretty much at full length as much as I can, and I'll just get 2 wraps, and I'm just going to push this all the way around. And I'm putting it pretty high up here because that rattle is really big, and I don't want that rattle pushing this deer hair up too much. And if anything, I want it to be a little bit thinner on top, because that's just going to affect my rattle that much less. Not affect my rattle, but I just don't want a big, bushy, this is like the very end of my bait, so I don't want it to be super pushed up. All right, deer hair's down. I put a little super glue, and I'm just working my way up right by my eye. I've got 4 really big, long feathers. They came on a little attach like this, they're really, really nice feathers. And so the second feathers that I'm going to use are going to be really puffy Schlappen. These are a lot thinner, and these are the ones, I'm going to put a bunch of these ones down, probably 8 to 10, but I've only got 4 of these, and I'm putting these ones on first because they're longer, but also because when I put all of those colored hackles on and I bring them all the way down, I want a little bit of white to come, not quite as far as those hackles are going to go, but I want some white to make its way down to there, and I just didn't want it to be deer hair. So I'm going to put 4 of these on. I'm going to put 2 on the sides and 2 on the top. Alright, first little bit of wires down. I'm using that 87 pound again that I used on that double bladed Musky spinnerbait. And I want to make sure, on this one I have to make sure that these hook points are going to ride together. If I tie this in like this, then it's going to be reverse. So you want to make sure, if you're going to tie a bait like this, that you line them up how they should be. So I'll get that down. I thought about putting 2 of these beads down, but really, I'm not too worried about adding a bunch of that length there or anything like that. And I think this bead will hold up just fine too. So I'll get this pushed through. There's a lot of glue on there already. This can be a lot of fun right here. And I'm just gonna work that up as much as it's gonna let me. And I've got my vise clamped down, so I don't have to really worry about moving my vise. So that should be good. I'm gonna get this out of my way because I don't feel like getting this. That's an Ahrex 6/0 Predator hook, by the way. I don't think I said that in the beginning. So I'm going to get this pushed right on my side. Just a couple good wraps. Space them apart, just because I just want this down so I can mess with my wire. I've got one right down the center. This one's going to be on my side, and then I'm going to wrap it around again and go on the camera side. And this is a super long shank, so honestly you could for sure get away with just 2, but I'm sitting right here anyway, I might as well do it. Alright, so wire's down, articulation's done, glue's dry. I'm going to work all the way up to here. I thought about putting some chenille in there, but I really haven't tied a bait like this, and I don't want it to be too big. So again, I don't know how these feathers are going to react to this big bump here. So I've got this beautiful tail I bought at a fly show, and it was like 16 bucks, and this is one of the best tails I've ever had, and it's hard for me to use it, but I really need long bucktail here, And I'm just going to kind of tie it. I might put a little bit all the way around, but this is going to be the white part of my bait. And I need long hair because I want to come back to about where this fluff is. And so that is about right there. And so I'm going to tie that in. I'm just going to really just trim to get these butts even. And so I'll get this tied down about right here. And again, I'm not going to put too much on the bottom, but I'll put just a little. Just a little bit to hopefully keep some of those hackles. But I'm also putting Schlappen down too, so it's going to do hopefully double duty in preventing all that from wrapping too much. And again, there shouldn't really be much flare in these at all. And I'm leaving a lot of room. I didn't want to put this deer hair too far up here because all of this room, I'm going to kind of stagger that white Schlappen down. So that should be good. And I'll just get this nice and wrapped. And then I'm going to put some flash down before I put that Schlappen down. I'm just going to put the flash right on this deer hair bump right here. And it's just going to be, it's just standard Flashabou in silver because this is super limp. It's even more limp, I feel like, than holographic Flashabou. It's kind of the original or whatever they call it. I'm going to put down this Schlappen. I've got maybe 8, 9 of these, and I've got a couple extras because I really don't know how many I want to put down. But I'm going to put them down. I'm going to start right here, and I'm just going to do side, top, side, side, top, side, all the way up to here. And I kind of picked out feathers that are really fluffy, because it's not going to add a ton of bulk. One of them won't, but 12 of them probably, hopefully, will. Alright, everything so far is done. Now I just have maybe a ½ an inch between this tubing and this head, and I've got, I don't even know, over 20 hackle feathers that I'm going to put on here, a bunch of different colors. And then I'm actually, I think one of the last things I'm going to do is I'm going to take just some super long white deer hair and I'm going to tie it in full length just to get it back to about where this fluff is. And I'm hoping that this bump isn't too big and this deer hair is long enough that it'll be able to still bend down. So I won't use like super airy stuff. None of this hair feels super like it has tons of flare in it. But I want just a little bit of white on this to kind of crease back and create kind of that front chest of that fish. right, this is what it looks like wet. Try and flip this around. I'm holding the tail just because it's super saggy, obviously, because it's super long. But I tried to get as even as I could. It's not perfect all the way around. I ended up adding the red thread just for a little gill, but I think it turned out decent. This is the first type of bait I've ever made like this, and this is going to run about 11 inches. We'll see. It's definitely, that deer hair definitely is wrapping down really better than even I thought it was gonna, and I was hoping because it's so long that it was gonna do that, but we'll see when it's actually in the water. It's always really tricky. I have a random feather. This stuff just sticks together, but when it's wet, hopefully it'll kind of flare a little bit. You can even see that deer hair, you can see through that, and I used a wad of deer hair on this thing and it still is see-through. Yeah, just a beast of a jig, but we'll see how she swims. Junior's Fishing Company, juniorsfishing.com. See you on the next one.